Hello everyone, I'm Tyler. Last time we talked about the future. In this episode, I want to talk about the past. Let's look back at the time during the OMP Halos, to see how those grand questions or mysteries that were posed were ultimately answered. For example, what is divinity? What is the first cause of life? Let's do a recap and conclusion for our OMP Halo story. Alright, let's begin. The first major question was at the end of version 2.7. It was the question Blackdar asked the Air Edition. What is divinity? This question was the beginning of the OMP Halo story, and it was finally answered by Exilian in the last version, 3.7. Divinity is flawless humanity. Humanity is flawed divinity. This statement is very abstract. It seems to answer the question, but if you ask what exactly it answered, it's hard to say. Let's delve into what Exilian's statement really means. Her statement is context. It was during her conversation with the Mirage. She used an analogy about a crystal flower. The advancement material for the light cone given upon clearing the main story. It's also a crystal flower. It's called Flawed Remembrance. Its description contains a cryptic lie. The sincere tremor when the crystal flower falls is the cause of life. We'll talk about the cause of life later. First, let's discuss the fable centered around the crystal flower. This story is used to discuss novice. In the Mirage's original version, there was a flawless crystal flower. But one day, it fell to the ground and shattered. Among the fragments was a bow of light. The light was good. And this bow of light was a... But, Exilian altered the story. The flawless crystal flower had no heart. Yet, she then says, this is a romantic story, because the shattered crystal flower gained a heart. And, also, I believe many people are already confused by this point. What nonsense is this guy spouting? Let's explain. Obviously, the flawless crystal flower represents divinity. Divinity is flawless, pure, and complete, but it has no heart. Because love necessarily signifies a relationship between two entities. And pure things are closed off. Because incorporating external elements would make them pure. So Exilian says, because it has closed itself off, blooming in solitude. Understanding this, the shattering of the crystal flower becomes easier to understand. Humanity is not pure. It is complex. It is a negation of the fallen state. But precisely because of this, it gained a heart. It came to understand love. While reaching this conclusion is still useless. Why is broken unsaid better than wholeness? Why is having love more worthwhile than having none? Where exactly is the romance in that? You can't just claim it's romantic, can you? Without a reasonable explanation. Regarding what love is, Plato has a very famous proposition. It is a desire for what you do not have. If we're trying to understand, Exilian using Plato's theory. Why didn't the crystal flower understand love? Because it was perfect. It didn't need it. It became imperfect. It became broken. So the fragments began to seek a way to piece themselves together. To become whole again, and this is love. If we understand it this way, then the entire preceding argument becomes pure self minus indulgence. Because this is equivalent to admitting that divinity is perfect. The values that humans hold dear, things like heart, derive their meaning from that divinity. They are valuable only because they can bring one closer to perfection. Then in the eyes of a god, these things naturally have no meaning. You're making a fuss over nothing. First, I don't agree that the above interpretation is the story's original intent. But at the same time, I think it's reasonable for viewers to interpret this part of the story in a Platonic way. This is also one of the reasons why the version 3.7 story is so controversial. The topic itself is very obscure, and the writer used a lot of metaphors to express emotion, which means if you don't get his train of thought, you'll find this part of the story particularly empty. Let me be clear first. I never think that if you don't understand this plot, it's because you lack skill or didn't pay enough attention. Only us research meta-space content creators would analyze it word by word. Players don't have an obligation. While what the story intends to convey is clearly not the understanding mentioned above. If you genuinely want to understand the writer's message, let's continue the analysis. Let me use another analogy. It might not be very elegant, but it better captures Exilian's intended meaning. Let's think of pure, flawless divinity. Any question if flawless is flawless. Flawless raw material is indeed pure. But this perfection is relative to the material itself. While it is sealed, it also loses the potential for development. For example, a piece of pure iron, no matter how pure, will always only have the properties of iron. To make a material surpass itself, it must be doped with other material. Turning iron into steel makes the product impure. It becomes flawed, but it also gains entirely new capabilities. It never had in its raw material state. It gained the heart. Because love in this context is a force that makes all things abandon their purity, embrace impurity, and combine with other, to transcend their own limitations and reach a higher level. When I was a kid, I saw snack commercials on TV that often used phrases like milk falls in love with chocolate to represent the perfect pairing. At this point, quick minded people might say, if materials achieve the perfect pairing through combination to form a product, doesn't that become a new, more advanced, and complete individual? Doesn't that just mean the original materials were perfect? Ah, exactly. Flawed is the negation of flawless. And that flawlessness is also the negation of a negation of having flaws. This is a spiraling, never mind ending process. Just like a person must first accept their own imperfection, to step out of their own world, making up for shortcomings. This process might lead you to make mistakes, or even become worse. But ultimately it will polish you into a better version of yourself. Having flaws and being flawless are the contradictory unity within things. With this perspective, let's look back at what is divinity, or even remind us understand it. Everything will become clear. Each path is a pure concept, originating from a certain trait of civilization itself. When intelligent beings push a certain concept to its extreme, removing all impurities, they attain divinity, and become male. But gods are not nobler than humans, and their flawlessness is no more meaningful than having flaws. While divinity is pure, it is also isolated and closed off. That's why I often say, Eons do not have free will, because they are too pure. They have no heart, they do not tell, and they cannot tolerate any will unrelated to their path. But humans are complex. This also nurtures possibilities facing different directions. Humanity and Indian are the two sides of the same coin of life. This is OMP Halos' final answer to what is divinity. It becomes much easier to answer what the first cause of life is. Back in version 3.4, we analyzed what the first cause of life is. After the version 3.7 storyline concluded, my book also provided another answer besides entropy increase. Trailblaze. The Air Edition IO1 says the trailblaze is infinite, disordered chaos. It inherently represents a proactive attitude of embracing change. and precisely because the trailblaze is infinite and disordered, the first cause of life has no static answer. Instead, it is left for each individual to choose for themselves, although there is no fixed correct answer. But the story actually points us in a direction. Let's look again at that previously ambiguous line. The sincere tremor when the crystal flower falls is the cause of life. What does sincere tremor mean? It refers to the cause flawless self. After overcoming the pursuit of purity, taking the first step with a nervousness and trepidation. Just as I've written, it is written to the flawed one, because life is born with flaws. Life chooses perfection, and in accepting its own imperfections, life transcends in destruction, and achieves its self. Therefore, the first cause of life occurs in that moment when the flawless takes a step towards being flawed. Besides the nature of divinity in the first cause of life, there's another matter that has been bothering me. That is, back in version 3.6, the question of why Exilian knew the Trailblazer. The story is a very Omphalos minus X argument to answer this question, but I always felt it was still lacking something. So I want to share a brainwave, or rather, a perspective on the setting. We know that the reason Exilian stays in Omphalos is due to the uniqueness of the late cluster C. Since memory records the past, it needs to wait until the end of time for the memory to become truly complete. If you all ascended to godhood from the late cluster C and trace back all past events, the Black says that turning the branches of the universe's great tree into one is the essence of memory. Under FULI's remembrance, the past solidifies into memory, and in the corners he forgets. Even if the present occurs, it will become a rootless fruit. And Omphalos' cycle relies on the power of memory. If future FULI undergoes some change, then the outcome of the Iron Curtain's destruction will also change. Therefore, Exilian needs to become the observer, always watching this place, to make Omphalos' outcome collapse. Do you feel this setting is particularly fantastical? Does the setting of this have any significance in reality? And when you apply it to reality, this setting becomes very easy to understand. In reality, the thing closest to memory. The Italian historian Croce said, all history is contemporary history. Historical records are objective. You always have to select and organize them. The method of selection and the way historical events are connected is subjective. It is greatly influenced by the historian's own understanding or motives. For example, is Yuan Chengwen a national hero or traitor? Are the Yuan Qing dynasty's legitimate Chinese regime? Whether you support or oppose, you can find historical materials to support your conclusion. While a person like me who hasn't studied history, I'm just a fence minus blown in all directions. The best course of action is to keep quiet. This characteristic is completely analogous to memory. Memory is not a mechanical record of the past either. It is a form of retrospective construction. It is filled with subjective feelings. For the anyone who remembers, what he remembers, and what he forgets, may not directly change history itself, but it certainly influences the perception of history and its outcome. Thus, it alters the facts within your mind on an idealistic level. Similarly, I don't think the moment of erudition is some causality minus level superpower either, and actively influencing the present, to steer it towards the optimal direction of its own deduction. It's the same nature as what the Stellar Hunters do. Okay, that's all for this video. The next episode will be an analysis of the Trailblaze IO. Lately, I'm fighting on 3 fronts. Hunter and TTR PG replays. I don't want to follow the Hunter either. I'm truly swab. Could you please give me a triple like, favorite, share for my hard work? Thank you. Well, I'm the Mortal. See you next time.